Hey everyone. This is Kate Weatherwise, your favorite weather girl, coming to you on Friday, January 2nd, 2026. It is 3 p.m. on the Pacific Coast and it is 6 p.m. on the East Coast. Now, what this video is about is current weather conditions across the country, and then we're going to take a look at what's going on around the country for the next week or so, focusing on bigger events that are starting to form or could form, or just, different weather events. It is wintertime. It is that time of year where snow is more prevalent. We've had lots of snow in the upper Midwest and Northeast. There's just no stopping this snow for them, and that's going to continue. They're just in that pattern of cold weather and systems coming across and just bringing either system snow or lake effect snow into those areas. When wintertime is all said and done for them, it's going to be a record-breaking year for sure. So let's go into my favorite satellite imagery. This is the current look at what we are seeing across the country. There isn't a whole lot over here in the east. There is some rain down here in the south, in the state of Tennessee, down into Alabama and north of Atlanta and Georgia, and a little bit in Mississippi and a little bit over into Arkansas. And there is some snow, lake effect snow, that is still occurring into Michigan. Looks like a good band coming into upstate New York, into Ohio, and into western Pennsylvania. And then we get a little bit of snow here in the middle of the country, Nebraska and Kansas, and then also up here into the Dakotas. There's a little bit of snow and wind in Wyoming. There's always snow and wind in Wyoming in the wintertime. And then we go out west where we see, I'm going to pan over here and bring this more into focus. This is a pretty nice low off the coast of Northern California. Still, this system was here yesterday when I did my weather update short. This is still churning out here. It hasn't moved a whole lot, and it's still bringing that warm, moist air up from the south, and the coastlines are really seeing some rain all the way. And then it seems like there's two low pressure systems, one up here to the north and one up here to the south, which is probably why they're not moving so much, because they're competing against each other. But these winds are out of the south, bringing up the warmer air. Now, here in Washington State, where I am, we saw some snow yesterday and overnight, but slowly but surely the temperatures have ticked up ever so slightly above freezing. It's now in the mid 30s around here, so nothing falling from the sky, but there was some snow overnight. We got 1 to 3 inches. There was a winter weather advisory. There was also some ice in central Washington, but there's been more snow in the mountains, which is good. There's now the winds are still showing a little bit out of the northeast and east. And that's kind of why we're not seeing that quick transition to the warmer air. It's been more gradual, because these lows are bringing in those winds towards the center of these lows and not pushing the wind, southwest winds, all the way north quite yet. It will eventually do that. And tomorrow and over the weekend, I'm forecasting it to be in the mid to upper 40s for all of these areas. And we'll take a look at that when we look at the temperature models here coming up here in a minute. But I wanted to show you that this is the big weather maker, and it's just, a classic low off the coast here. It looks beautiful on the satellite imagery with the winds and then the precipitation. So we're going to go over to what the National Weather Service has for us right now as far as watches are concerned and warnings. We have lots of, let's see if I can bring this in anymore. I guess I can't. We have the winter storm warnings here for the mountains of California and the Sierra Nevada mountains. We have winter weather advisories. We have the flood warnings. We have the wind advisories. We also have some winter weather advisories for eastern Washington and northeast Washington into Idaho and Montana as well. This is for a little bit of ice, that there's a possibility for some ice here later today and overnight tonight. And then, of course, we have some winter weather advisories in the Rockies of Colorado with some wind over here. There's a storm watch over here, and then some winter weather advisories for Nebraska. And then, of course, the lake effect snow continues for upstate New York, southwest New York, and very northwest Pennsylvania. So that's going to continue. And as we go back to this area, we're going to go back to Florida. Their temperatures have gone back up because, as you can see, the winds have flipped back around to the south and the southwest. So they're enjoying a warmer day today than they experienced yesterday and the day before. So that's good for them, because I know I used to live in South Florida, so I can attest to this. When the temperatures are below 75, you're cold because you get acclimated to the warmer air in South Central and South Florida. So, all right, we're going to take a look at the temperatures over the next little bit for the next week or so. As you can see right now, it's keeping the warmer temperatures down to the south. The north, from about center part of the country north, we're seeing the colder temperatures, and that is going to be the case for a little while. We are going to see a trough dig out here from the west all the way down to the center of the country, and then create some warmth from about Maryland, Virginia, down south. And we'll see that as we go along. And then it's nice and warm here in South Texas, South Florida. Again, 70 is not too warm, but Arizona, southern Arizona, southeastern New Mexico, and down into Southern California, you're not warm, but it is the start of a new year into January, so you're not expected to be that warm. If you want the good warmth, you got to go down into deep South Texas here, where it's about 80 degrees here on the border. So as we move along, the Rockies stay nice and cold, which is good, because any systems that do form and do come in from the coast, it will usually dump some snow in the mountains, which is good. Good for those ski resorts and ski people. And now this is tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, about 10 a.m. Pacific time. The colder air is still up north, and then throughout the day it gets warm, but then of course in the evening. But as we go along, you can sort of see this trough digging out here, where the colder air stays in the upper Midwest and into the Northeast and continues with the snow. It's just across the border in Canada. It's going to be below zero. And then that trough stays with us. And then as we go through the center of the country, it is pretty warm for the center of the country. And then by next weekend, which is the 9th, 10th, and 11th, we'll go out that far. The mountains stay nice and cold. Western Montana stays nice and cold. Eastern Montana or Eastern Washington into the Cascades. Central Washington, it stays semi-warm, but not warm. And then as we go through, you can see by the end of next week, you can see a trough digging out for the west, where cold air comes back into the picture. Colder air comes back into the picture. 1 degrees in Wyoming forecasting. Of course, this is just about a week out, 6 days out. So we'll keep an eye on this. But there does seem to be a trough over in the west that is going to develop, and then it broadens a little bit. And by the end of the weekend, it really broadens. And then the East Coast is going to be warm. Look at this. By next Saturday, we're going to be in the 60s all the way up into Maryland and southern New Jersey, 50s and 60s. And then you come all the way down here, and it's going to be in the 80s down in South Florida. So you guys are going to be enjoying some warmth. But the West is going to be on the chilly side. Let's go through next weekend. So here we go. By next weekend, this stays, and then it looks like this is Sunday night, January 11th. So it's 9 days away, but we do see that cold air coming back a little bit. This is overnight though, so it's expected to be cold overnight. And then of course, overnight here is going to be cold, not super cold, because it's still 30 degrees in Western Montana. Normally they're in, the single digits. So not that cold, but cold enough. It will be wintertime, but to them it's going to be like, wait a second, Are we in winter or are we in springtime? So that's what it's looking like for temperature wise. And then when we go to the precipitation that's going to come along with those temperatures, we do see system after system. We see that trough here as we begin. This is today, this evening for the East Coast. You have the cold air in place, all stretching down from the Dakotas all the way to Maryland. And then there's warmth that returns out west and down south. And we have these systems off the coast of Washington, Oregon, and California bringing in rain for all of these areas, the lowlands of all of these states, and then mountain snow, which is nice because of the mountains and the ski resorts. So this is over the weekend, more rain, more inland snow, mountain snow with mixed precipitation in spots. And then as we get into the mountains in Idaho and Wyoming and Colorado, Utah, all of these areas, mountain snow. We have a system that does come offshore. I mentioned this before. We have a high pressure here. We have a high pressure up here. And it's kind of keeping these systems to the south. And this is going to be a little bit of a low pressure. It's not too low, but it's a little bit of and there's a high pressure down here as well, and a pretty good high pressure out here. So this is what's keeping these systems from coming to the coast and then winding up and then heading northeast up the coast. That's what it looks like. And then we have some system snow. This has been pretty consistent on model runs. So more system snow for the Northeast and upper Midwest. And then these low pressure systems coming in on the coast. This is through Sunday afternoon. This weekend, we have another system snow coming into the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes region, with some more snow for you all. And again, a little bit of colder air here for Monday. And then a bubble of high pressure here in the middle from this nice high pressure dome. And then another trough over here. It shows a high pressure over here, but this is a little bit of a trough with that system snow that's going to come across. And then the rest of the area is going to stay pretty dry, it looks like. And then as we go through Monday night into Tuesday, this is going to be interesting here. This could bring some mixed precipitation to some areas of the lowlands of Western Washington. This is Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday night with mountain snow and then snow for Eastern Washington too, and North Idaho into Western Montana. So this has been pretty consistent on model runs too. So I will definitely keep an eye on this. This is about 4 days away. So everything's coming more into alignment, but still there could be a chance that this would change. But as of right now, it's not changing. And then system snow too, heading into New York. Not a whole lot going on in the center part of the country right now. Another system comes in, bringing snow to possibly Western Washington, because as you can see, we have some colder air. This is when the colder air starts to come back into the picture next Wednesday, January 7th. And some snow in the mountains and snow in northeastern Washington, snow into Utah and Colorado and eastern Montana, and then some rain picks up. Texas, you guys are in the bullseye for Wednesday overnight into Thursday, Wednesday, January 7th into overnight, January 8th. This looks like a severe weather event that could pick up with those warm temperatures that will be brewing down here into central Texas. And then this system here ends up going up the spine of the Appalachians and into Michigan and those areas where this looks like it's going to push rain because it's bringing up those southwest winds with the cold air trough out to the west now and the bubble of warmer air with this low pressure system coming up the spine of the Appalachians to the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast. So we could actually see some rain by the 8th of January up here where it has consistently been snow. And then as this low pulls away, it's going to pull some more cold air down. And then our next system So this is through Saturday. We have rain in the mid-Atlantic next Saturday. So that's what we are looking at for the next week-ish. I will stop here because I never like to put out a forecast or share anything that is too far out because it always changes. It always changes. If it doesn't change, then I will I'm always shocked if it doesn't change. So that is it for this system. Oh gosh, I'm going to move forward just a couple more slides because this low definitely winds up as it gets off the coast and definitely brings in the colder air by Saturday into Sunday next weekend. So I will keep everyone posted as these systems come through because, as I just mentioned, it always changes. And then we do see a high pressure that builds back in. This is a pretty good high pressure that builds back in for the West for Sunday, January 11th. So yeah, that is it, guys. For this edition of Kate Weatherwise, looking at the national weather for the next week or so, I will be back with updates as necessary because that's just what I do. So this is Kate Weatherwise saying bye for now.